Usually, when I make videos, I try to focus on bigger channels because they often have more influence over a bigger audience of kids that might imitate them. But recently, I came across such a messed up channel that I just had to talk about it. He goes by the name of Hamster. He's allowed to make $1,000 a month on Patreon for mistreating hamsters by sticking them into tiny enclosures underwater for at least a month at a time for no reason at all. He isn't doing this to research anything. He himself has stated that he just does it for fun. It seems like he has a fantasy of living underwater, so he is using these innocent animals to live vicariously through them. It wouldn't make any difference if he used, for example, plants instead of living beings, but he seems to care about his hamsters about as much as a normal person would care about a random flower. During this month that they're forced to be underwater, he doesn't clean their enclosure and also doesn't add new food. He has also rationalized their tiny enclosure in which they can maybe walk a few steps by saying that they have a wheel, so it's okay. He has been doing this for quite a long time now, and while he keeps promising to upgrade the underwater cage, he has barely added onto it in years. Hamsters in the wild might live in barrels, but they walk a lot to patrol the territory and forage, often walking for around 8 miles per night. In most European countries, which have much more humane minimum cage sizes, a minimum of 600 to 1,000 square inches is required for a hamster, simply because you can't put enough enrichment in a smaller cage. And even then, taking a tame hamster out and letting them explore outside of their cage is also a good idea, since they will inevitably get bored if always kept in the same environment and may show signs of stress such as bar biting. I will leave articles of the importance of cage sizes for hamsters in the description below, because there has been a lot of research on it. Putting hamsters in commercial American pet store cages is cruel, and hamsters underwater cages seem to be just as small as critter trail cages. He has barely any toys for them in these cages and doesn't even seem to understand the most basic signs of boredom, like when he made fun of one of his hamsters when it dug under its wheel just because it didn't have anything else to do.
He's already kicked up a lot of litter to get underneath the running wheel, which is a sort of shelter. Fucking loves doing that. Why? Mysterious hamster reasons. It's not for us to know.
In older videos, he didn't even have places for them to sleep in, and their one land enclosure that each of them is in every other month isn't much better. He has them in a bin, which is a viable option for hamster cages, but his is fairly small and just not good, honestly. First of all, he didn't even put any air holes into the bin cage, which is going to lead to stagnant air and a buildup of ammonia, which is going to be detrimental to their health. The way he decorated the cage is also bad. Compare the way his looks to an actually good cage. You should always have a deep layer of bedding spread all over the floor, while he just put some in a corner and called it a day. Hamsters in the wild dig long tunnels and sleep during the day in those. They can't even show any of that natural behavior because all he gave them was a little log. He also has barely anything in there that could stimulate their little brains, just scattering random toys on the ground. He treats his hamsters, who are living, breathing, and feeling creatures, like toys, and it's honestly really upsetting. Hamster has uploaded a video where he stuck a hamster in a tube and taped it to a drone and flew him around. Again, for no reason at all.
Ready to choose the impossible like never before. "100 feet and holding." There she is at 200 feet. You can barely see her, but she's up there, choosing the impossible at 400 feet.
If you know anything about rodent behavior and observe the hamster, you'll see that he is grooming himself because he is stressed. For rodents, grooming is something like a self-soothing action. It is familiar and it calms them down. It's comparable to, for example, laughing when you're nervous. It doesn't make sense to do it in that situation, it just happens out of reflex. Everyone who is giving this man money on Patreon and supporting him otherwise should be ashamed of themselves. And Patreon should also really do something about him, because having a legit animal abuser who also makes fun of disabled people on there with no consequence is disgusting. That's all I wanted to say. I just need to get this off my chest because seemingly nobody is really talking about this, and that bothers me. Thank you for watching this short and ranty video.